You're more than they can ever be. They are just foot soldiers in the Great War. You will make kings rise and fall.
You're a witch. You're going to hurt him.
I see a darkness in you. And in that darkness, eyes staring back at me. Brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Eyes you'll shut forever. We will meet again.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So little birds have spotted a very particular someone near the set of Game of Thrones, implying that Arya is going to have a reunion, if not a couple reunions during the season. So this is going to be a breakdown. Just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened so far. So the big news is that just like a random Game of Thrones fan spotted Joe Dempsey at the Belfast airport arriving. So everyone's like, oh man, they're filming Game of Thrones right now. That means that Gendry is coming back. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that he's going to appear during Season 7, but pretty much all the Game of Thrones actors that showed up in Belfast around this time last year ended up appearing during the season. Like, a lot of them tried to pass it off as like, oh, they're just visiting the people on the set, they're just having some fun. Nope, they all appeared, like Rory McCann, bam, he was in Game of Thrones Season 6. Osha and Rickon, bam, Game of Thrones Season 6. So I'd say it's a safe bet that they're going to circle back around and touch on what Gendry's been doing this whole time. Just think about how big his arms are for rowing for that many seasons. So just a reminder about where he's been and what's been going on in the books that they've already skipped over on the TV show. Because there is Gendry stuff that happens in the books, it's relatively minor, but they combined him with the Edric Storm character on the TV show, so for the time he was on screen in the first 3 seasons, he actually got way more story. All the stuff that happened to Dragonstone at the end of Season 3, that was the Edric Storm stuff that they gave him from the books. So Sir Davos sets him free and is just like, get the hell out of here, go back to King's Landing, hide out in Flea Bottom, live a very quiet, mundane life, and be happy about it. So Gendry rows off, never to be seen again. So in the books up to that point, what had happened with the Gendry character is that he just stayed at the crossroads. So if you remember, he went with Melisandre took him. Well, in the books, he just continued to be the blacksmith at the inn at the crossroads. So the TV show blew that wide open. We never got Lady Stoneheart. The Hound was reunited with the Brotherhood and rejoined them as they headed north. Arya came back to Westeros and went to the Twins to take care of some Frey pies. So as George R. R. Martin has already answered fans' questions about Arya Gendry stuff, they're like, are they ever going to meet up again in the books? And he's like, yeah, of course they're going to meet up again. He didn't say how they're going to meet up again, but keep in mind that what they might do, as they have with, say, like the Jaime storyline when they circled back around in Season 6 to do the River Run Jaime stuff, is they might circle back around to do Gendry Brotherhood stuff. So remember when Gendry and Arya were last together, she was really upset because she wanted them to stay together, but he was like, I belong here, I have a purpose, I'm a good blacksmith, they need a blacksmith, they're doing good things, I mean, kind of good things. Gendry was kind of willfully ignorant about some of the more terrible things that the Brotherhood was doing. So Gendry on the TV show might slowly try to rejoin the Brotherhood, but we don't know exactly where they are. They're still in the Riverlands somewhere, but they're traveling north. So there's going to be at least a little bit of River Run stuff next year, but there is a question as to where Arya's going to go. So you have Arya at River Run, you have the Hound in the Brotherhood that were last seen near the Salt Pans, kind of where they were in the books, and then you have the Inn at the Crossroads, potentially where Gendry might be. So you have like a bunch of reunions. Arya seeing the Hound again, and Arya seeing Gendry again. So let me know in the comments, do you think that they're going to keep the Arya stuff down in the Riverlands, and she will meet up with the Hound and Gendry during the season? Or do you think separately they'll all start to travel north and they'll converge and have like their big reunion moment near Winterfell? Because Arya did say that she was going home. She's Arya Stark of Winterfell, so it sounds like she will make her way back to Winterfell eventually, if not really soon. So just remember that there's 7 episodes, but because Arya is a main character, we'll probably get more scenes with her than we would separately just with the Hound or just with Gendry. That if they converge and they meet with Arya, then you'll see a whole lot more of them just because of their proximity to her. And that says nothing about how crazy it's going to be, because Arya's been thinking about these people for a long time. She hasn't really mentioned Gendry that much. She mentioned the Hound when she was playing the Game of Faces, but you have the idea of her seeing these two people that she really cared about, like the people that she had kind of made her family. I don't know that she would call the Hound her family. Gendry was like the last person who she was like actively trying to make part of her family. Like, I would be your lady. I don't think that she even knows that Gendry is secretly Robert's son. The Hound might know, but I don't think that she really cares about that. Like, they probably wouldn't be talking about that. But Gendry's kind of in the same spot with Jon Snow when it comes to being a bastard and feeling like an outsider. So I think that Arya doesn't care about any of that stuff. So it's going to be really fun seeing how she deals with that. Like, you don't really see her crying here. She seems so hardcore, but I feel like the sight of Gendry would just like immediately warp her back to being like a 10-year-old girl, and she would just break down crying. Like, she wouldn't know what to do. Like when Brienne is meeting with Jaime and there's all these things between them that they don't say, like they just exchange these looks and they both look like they're going to explode from the tension in the air. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of really touching moments during the season. You have like your WTF big action set pieces, like the big battles. You have the big oh my god moments, like where Cersei blows up the Great Sept. Then you have more heartwarming moments, like when Sansa gave Jon Snow the cloak that looked just like Ned Stark's. Like, oh, you look like you've taken father's place. Like, this is so touching that you've returned to Winterfell. So you'll have some moments like that with Arya. Like, Arya's just been WTF for the last couple of episodes, being chased around by the Wave, then finally making the decision to come home, avenging her family's murder at the Red Wedding with some Frey pies. So she's due for a really heartwarming, touching moment. So I feel like we'll see some of that either with Gendry, with the Hound, depending on when she runs into them. But there's a couple different ways that could go down. It just seems logical that that would happen somewhere in the Riverlands, because each of those three different groups of characters, like Gendry, the Hound, and the Brotherhood, and Arya, are all still in that area of Westeros, so it would make sense that they would converge somewhere. Maybe at Riverrun, maybe closer to the Twins. I'm really hoping that Arya eventually tries to cross Cersei off her list, but they've been hyping Cersei versus Daenerys so much. It seems like Daenerys is going to try and complete the task before Arya has the chance. So we'll just have to wait and keep our eyes peeled on the set to see who else shows up. I'm really hoping that young Ned Stark and Lyanna Stark show up again. Hype Train totally on schedule this year. And I'll say congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Curtis Hinson. You win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. So what's going to happen next is they just announced some Punisher stuff for Punisher Season 1. YouTube itself, like, outside of like the really cool stuff that I normally talk about, YouTube changed a bunch of features. So there are a few things that look different. The comment section may look a little bit different. So I might make a video for that, just explaining like all the WTF YouTube changes. There were a couple nightmare things that happened last night, but it wasn't that big a deal. Usually anytime there's like a big problem on YouTube, they fix it really quickly. But there's just like a couple new things that it might take a day or two to get used to. So be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. Should post by later tonight. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to learn all about the Ironborn during Season 7, and you can click here to learn all about the new Wolverine movie, Doing Mr. Sinister. And if you guys didn't notice, if you're watching this on your mobile phone, they changed this so you can actually click on these links now. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.